Hello, Western Civ 104. Welcome to week 2. I want to apologize. I've been having technology issues. As you might have noticed from the last announcement, my volume was very low. I'm not being able to fix it right now. I don't know what the issue is. And so I'm using this, and I think the volume is better, but there's like static. Again, bear with me, and I hope that you'll find this announcement a little bit helpful. So first of all, I just want to state that many of you, of course, haven't even finished your first week all the work yet. And mostly what I'm seeing is fine. Just a few things I want to address. Sometimes I do have videos that say to do more notes than 2. So some of you are overlooking that somehow. So keep that in mind. And then for the Sunday papers, I just want to remind you the very important is that there needs to be dates covering time periods somewhere mentioned in the papers. And you have to have works cited. So many of you are mainly getting that, but I think I have seen a few that still actually don't have dates for time periods. And those will normally be given zeros, okay? So don't do that. I want to get you out of that problem immediately. Dates for time periods covered, works cited, cover the material that we only that we went over in the week's modules. You're good to go. And just to give you a little extra clarification too, you can just use the textbook. You can just use my lectures, that's in the module, or you can mix it up. So in other words, the Sunday papers are you just focusing on information we covered in the week's modules, and the textbook counts as that. And so those are your options for sources for the papers. So again, I'm grading relatively easy. Most of you, if you don't stress too much, turn in the paper. Unless something's really wrong, I will most likely give you full points, and then I will tell you, okay, this week you get full points, but next week you're going to need to do X, Y, and Z. So just pay attention to the comments I have if I leave you any, okay? And if I don't leave you any comments, it means that you did it perfectly, and I'm good, and that's good to go, okay? So, excuse me on the cough. All right. So this week, every week I will cover a topic, and every once in a while I will see that some are more controversial than other weeks. This one, we're covering a topic that I think many of you will be interested in, but from a position in which many of you will not be comfortable in how we do it. I'm covering ancient Israel's influence on Western civilization. That's the main thing that we want to take away from this. And if you are an Orthodox Jewish person or a Christian in any branch that is devout, you find that complementary to what you're a part of. Because you say, "Oh, this is great. This is my faith-based system being shown to be a direct link of influence on the civilization that I'm experiencing." And so that part is true. Where historians get a little bit different is that they don't take the history to be taken for granted to be literally true in the way that the history is actually told. And it's not a conspiracy against the Bible. It's the way that historians approach all ancient texts. And I think many of you would be surprised that there are quite a bit of religious rabbis and Christian clergy that study these topics, are aware, and they feel that the Bible is full of spiritual truths, but not necessarily always historically accurate. And they don't feel that it needs to be to still be important to their faith-based systems. That doesn't work for everybody. I'm not promoting or demoting those ideas. I'm just kind of giving you an overall view. Now, look, as I've mentioned in my first week announcement, you are not required to believe in anything that's taught in this class. You're being exposed to the way that secular historians take consensus views on particular topics. So in my field, in this field of history, if you go to grad school, you'll see that people have very vigorous and rigorous debates about all the topics that are mentioned. And so it's not that all historians are on the same page, but there are things that we would call a consensus view. So that is the safe place for me to start with all of you, to just expose you to what generally how historians look at this particular history. And I took a class called Ancient Israel at UC Santa Cruz by a professor that was fluent in Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, and several other languages, Latin. I mean, he's quite an amazing guy. He was from France, and he had a passion for the subjects. And I had him also help me put together some of the information and recommend some more solid textbooks for me to go over. But again, I'm just reminding you, this isn't an attack on anyone's faith. This is just simply the approach that historians take to looking at the development of ancient Israel. And then, we cover, for the discussion, I have us go over ancient warfare, texts in the Bible, and the Assyrian text. Now, why do I do this? Is I think it's important to look at when we talk about the influence of Western civilization. Well, I have several reasons to do it. Instead of actually me totally spelling it out, I'm just trying to let you know that the idea of my class is for you to be exposed to information you aren't normally exposed to look at things you normally, in ways you don't normally think about, and to maybe when we judge other cultures and we look at other people's religions and we think of them as more violent than ours, or that we are in a place that's special compared to somebody else, I think it doesn't hurt to take a step back and actually look at the entirety of the way that our civilization and our roots fit into the broader context of world culture. And so that's how I'm always going to be approaching this with the class. And I think this nuance will help you understand not just Western civilization better, but also how the world and outside sources view Western civilization. So having said that, I hope you're all having a good week. It's very intense times right now. I hope you're all being good to each other and to yourselves, and we'll be in touch.